Carl was a young man of 17 when he became engaged to Jenny. For them, the course of true love was not a smooth one. It is easy to understand that Carl's parents opposed the engagement of a young man of his age. The earnestness with which Carl expressed his love explains the rather stormy scenes the engagement caused within the home. But soon the matter was settled, and shortly before or after his 18th birthday, the betrothal was formally recognized. 7 years Carl waited for his beautiful Jenny. But it felt like 7 days to him, because he loved her so much. On the 19th of June, 1843, the couple were wedded. Having played together as children and become engaged as young man and young woman, they held hands and went together through the battle of life. And what a battle it was. Years of bitter, pressing need, and still worse, of brutal suspicion, of infamous calumny, and of icy indifference. But through all this unhappiness and happiness, the two lifelong friends and lovers never doubted. They never faltered, and they were faithful unto death. And now that Papa has joined Mama, they rest one next to the other. After the death of his wife, Papa undertook a long, sad journey to recover his health, for he always wanted to complete his work. He had with him a photograph of my mother on glass in a case, and one of my sister, Jenny. After his death, we found them in his breast pocket. And along with Helene, dearest Helene, who cared for Papa until the end, and Friedrich Engels, a friend of a lifetime. We have laid them in his coffin. He died in harness, his intellect untouched. He's earned his rest. We should be grateful for so much. Dr. Aveling?
Yes?
I saw your last play. I loved it.
That's very kind of you.
Seems we have to celebrate your recent inclusion into our movement.
Oh, there's not much to celebrate today, especially for the movement.
No, not today. But tomorrow there will be more to celebrate. The future's on our side.
Yes, of course.
We're going to have to go through all the volumes, page by page. Some of the papers, speeches he gave at assemblies and conferences, he simply left them in the middle of whatever book he happened to be reading at the moment.
We never finished the game. He was winning.
I'll finish it with you tonight, and I'll let you win for once.
I did beat your father sometimes, when he was tipsy.
All these algebraic equations. I wonder what he was looking for, the old fox.
These are all our letters. And they're perfectly filed by date. So he could be tidy when he wanted to be. Paul Here are Laura's letters. You should take them to her. She might want to keep them.
Sure. Just see. She was really too upset to come. Mentally, she couldn't enjoy a long trip.
I understand.
What about Jenny's letters? I would like to keep them.
I'd rather keep them for Johnny. I'm glad Friedrich took the chair. I couldn't bear to see it empty.
Lucy? It's late, Johnny. Go to sleep.
And Lucy?
Don't go.
What is it?
Are you sure there isn't another life after this one?
Yes, I'm sure. No, Johnny, you don't have to be sad. It makes the life we are living even more special. Because it's unique. Your mother. Jenny had a wonderful life. Because she had you. And that's what matters.
And Grandpa?
Grandpa. Think of it this way. If there is another life after this one, if what they all say is true, then your grandfather, my father, is burning in hell right now. So it is better this way, isn't it?
Speak gently. 'Tis better far to rule with love than with fear. Speak gently. Let no harsh words mar the good we can do here. Eleanor Marx. For how many days will you be away?
I told you, not more than a month. It's an important trip. I'm so proud they chose me.
It's normal. They always choose you.
You'll have a nice time at Friedrich's. You'll have a big room and You'll be nearer to school. Helene will be with you. What did you say the birthday boy's name was?
Oliver, but they can't see him.
May I take your cake, miss?
Thank you.
Thank you.
If he enunciated views such as these, or even approximating to these, it is clear that we must admit that Shelley was a teacher as well as a poet. For the large and interesting question whether a poet has the right to be didactic, as well as merely descriptive, analytical, musical, cannot be entered upon here. But in passing, we may note that poets have a habit of doing things, whether they have the right to or not. By instinct, intuition, whatever we're to call that fine faculty that feels truths before they're put into definite language, Shelley was an evolutionist. He understood that men and peoples are the result of their ancestry and of their environment. Therefore, Shelley recognized crime as the natural result of social conditions. The criminal was to him as much a creature of the society in which he lived as the capitalist. Or the monarch.
Shame! Shame on you!
Society, he said, grinds down poor wretches into the dust of abject poverty until they are scarcely recognizable as human beings.
I will not tolerate any more of this. If Byron hadn't died at 36, he would have become a reactionary bourgeois.
Should we walk?
Yes. On the other hand, if Shelley hadn't died at 29, he would have become part of the advance guard of socialism.
Well, you seem very certain.
It's what my father thought. He said that Shelley was essentially a revolutionary. Papa said that Shelley was one of the few who really understood the meaning of the word freedom. The statement that England was a free country was to Shelley the merest nonsense. He wrote that the white shores of Albion are free no more.
Why do people call you Tussie?
I don't know. We all had nicknames when we were little, even my parents.
Do you mind if I call you Eleanor?
I wanted to tell you, I'm leaving for America. The trip's been organised by the German Socialist Party. Will you come with me? You're such a good communicator.
And I love to travel.
sometimes, sleep for a few hours, and then start working again.
They're little children working at tailoring. Some are employed by the week. Some work by the piece.
We work, eat, and sleep in these rooms together with our own children.
They work at pulling threads out of coats at 1 or 2 cents per coat. The owners are so hard on them. They don't treat them like human beings. They treat them like slaves.
Question is the same in America as it is in Europe. The question is always, in essence, the same. Why is it that the actual producers and distributors of wealth own the least wealth, and those who are not its actual producers and distributors own the most wealth?
Some 6 to 8 months of the year, that's working time on the plains. We gotta be in the saddle from morning till night. Often, all through the night as well. I have been with a party when we were obliged to ride 200 miles before we got the cattle under. And all that time, not one of us took a moment's rest. Yahoo!
I can accept the restaurant costs. We can still consider them the price of hospitality. But I really don't understand all these flower bouquets. It's a huge amount of money. How could you think it proper to charge them to the party?
Tussi, is this a way to present your expenditures to the party?
Tussi. Your pamphlet on the American working class. Marvelous. I wish I could have come with you.
It wasn't only my pamphlet. I wrote it with Eddie.
Of course. Tussi, you know that it's not the first time that Edward has had money trouble. The incident with the party during your trip was not the only one. He also had a problem when he was part of the secular society.
I know. He has absolutely no sense of money. But he is wonderful, believe me.
Of course, I believe you, Tussi. I always believe you.
There is something I want to announce to you both. I've decided to live with Edward as his wife. You know he was married before, when he was very young. His wife won't divorce him. So I cannot be his wife legally. But it will be a true marriage for me. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking I'll lose a lot of friends, but not the real friends. For me, this is a risk worth taking. Friedrich, we've talked about it so many times. Marriage is such an obsolete institution.
We couldn't agree more. Could we, Elena?
We won't be gone for long.
Yes.
We have meetings and assemblies to attend on the coast. But we'll be back right after Christmas.
I think the only place where it is expressed is in the Confessions of St. Augustine, where he and his mother stand at the open window. Isn't the relation between those two beautiful? The most beautiful relation that ever existed between man and woman. Sometimes I dream that such relations won't be as uncommon as they are now. One day.
When you have some, Eleanor, it's fun.
No, really. I had a bad experience with opium in the past. I have to be careful.
Well, they do say you risk getting hooked, but not if you only try once.
I understand what you say, and I agree completely.
Do you? Or perhaps one day men will feel that their mothers have borne them once with the body, and again with the spirit. Are you planning on having children? It must be such a beautiful thing to have a child. More beautiful than writing a book. Being a mother must be...
My mother. I loved my mother. But my father killed her. And he didn't actually kill her, but he was never around, so she started to drink. I remember all those evenings spent waiting for him with my mother and my little brother. And she always had a bottle on the table. And the day she fell down the stairs, we weren't at home. My little brother found her.
You shouldn't tell me.
Oh, he's so excited. He's been waiting for you. Oh, to see. He knows. I told him.
How did he take it?
He'll be all right.
Look inside.
What is it?
Look inside and turn it. Helene and I would love to keep you with us. But your father really wants you back.
I know. He would to me.
But if you really don't like being at Argenteuil with all the others, you can come and stay with me and Edward whenever you want.
I like staying with you. I don't like Edward.
Well, he's not very good with children. But when you're grown up, I'm sure the two of you will become firm friends.
And to see, I understand why you can't keep me with you. It's fine.
Don't want you to get cold, do we?
Freddie,
Oh, Eleanor.
it's so good to see you. It's been so long. And this is your son. Oh, he's so lovely. I finally get to meet him. I've asked your mother so many times.
His name's Henry.
Yes, I know. She talks about him always.
Well, we must be going. Come along, Henry. Goodbye, Mama.
Goodbye, darling.
Goodbye.
So Engels lets his own son in and out through the back kitchen door. He doesn't even come down to see him. Why do you let him do that? It goes against everything that we fought for.
Don't say that. Friedrich has done so much for us. I worry about little Johnny. I'll miss him. Maybe we should have insisted more with his father. We could have kept him longer. Your father...
My father wanted everything for me but my own freedom. Lynchen, Johnny understood me perfectly. He's just like his mother. After Jenny gave birth to May, Papa wanted to send me across to Argenteuil to help with the children. She was already ill and she refused. She said I had to concentrate on my studying and my writing. She told me not to make the same mistake she did with marriage and children, but that I had to concentrate on my work.
Yes, but Tussie, your father wanted Johnny to stay with us in England.
I have spent my whole life caring for other people. My father, my mother, my sister's children. Now it's my turn to live. Do you see? Edward says if his next play is successful, then we can get a bigger house and Johnny can come visit any time. He says our house is too small for the three of us. Bourgeois writers usually assume that there is no such thing as class struggle, and that the English working classes were never in so flourishing a condition as they are today, and that there is no general feeling of class hatred, and what little there is arises solely from the innate wickedness of the workers and the evil teachings of socialism. But the facts are that this struggle exists. It has existed for centuries, and its existence is quite independent of any doctrine, socialistic or otherwise.
The factory reports are but a record of another phase of this same struggle. Whatever the report, whatever the year, it is the same sad and hideous story. Evasion of the acts, recklessness as to the health and life of the workers, diseases and accidents due to the labour conditions and the greed of the employers. In no way have the technical advances of industrial manufacture improved working conditions. The masters have benefited, but not the men.
Profits are always the result of unpaid labour somewhere or another, and no real national good can come from a rise in profits unless the entire system of production for profit is done away with. As was clearly stated by my father in Chapter 23, Section 4 of Das Kapital, the law of capitalistic accumulation is laid down and proved historically. The law is that with the largest accumulation of capital, pauperism in a country is at its worst.
They're making you pay the cost of the recession out of your own salaries.
We have to make them spare their money in other ways, not by taking it away from the workers.
Yeah, we still have to discuss the accident.
Oh, yes, the poor man. He had 4 children, didn't he?
He did. 2 girls and 2 boys.
Well, the greatest number of accidents happened because of the lack of fencing around the machinery, and also because of the anxiety, the understandable anxiety for the workers to get the work done. Now, when the work is piecework, that anxiety is all the greater. As I understand it, the loss of a moment is important to you, is it not?
Well, if we're to maintain productivity, then yes.
And it happened on Saturday?
Yeah, he was leaving work at about 4 p.m.
Workers are allowed to leave early on a Saturday if the machinery's been cleaned. So it'd be interesting to compile the figures for the number of accidents that happen on a Saturday, when the workers are most eager to get home. And we're very far from having workers who delight in their own labor in this merciless age. Now, I've compiled a table of accidents for the year ending 1883, and in that year, fatal accidents numbered 403. And amputations came to 1,337.
It's like that every day. They hustle like beasts, not men. And all this to earn at best 3pence, 4pence an hour. They're struggling got that serious, the authorities had to remove the iron palings. The weaker men were getting impaled and crushed.
Is that when they brought the police in?
To form a line and make it a little bit more safer than the iron palings anyway. Been marked
In all these years, from the very beginning of our acquaintance, you and I have never exchanged a word on any serious subject.
Is it likely that I would be continually and forever telling you about worries you could not help me to bear?
I'm not speaking of business matters. I mean that you and I have never sat down together, in earnest, to try to get to the bottom of anything.
But my dearest, would it have been any good to you?
That's what I mean. You have never understood me. I have been greatly wronged. First, by Papa, and then by you.
What, by us two, who have loved you better than anyone else in the world?
You never loved me. You only thought it pleasant to be in love with me. It's perfectly true. When I was at home, Papa told me his opinion about everything, and so I had the same opinions. And if I differed from him, I concealed the fact, because he would not have liked it. He called me his doll child, and he played with me like I played with my dolls. And when I came to live with you...
What sort of expression is that to use about our marriage?
I mean, I was simply transferred from his hands into yours. You arranged everything according to your own taste. And so I had the same taste. Or I pretended to. I'm really not sure which. Sometimes I think the one, and sometimes I think the other. When I look back, it's like I have been living here as a poor woman, just from hand to mouth. I have existed merely to perform tricks for you, but you would have it so. You and Papa have committed a great sin against me, and it is your fault that I have made nothing of my life.
How unreasonable and ungrateful you are. Have you not been happy with me?
No. No, I've never been happy. I thought I was, but it was never really so.
There you are.
Are you all right? Yes, of course. It was wonderful. The text is incredible. And your translation... just... it made me think of me and Havelock. I've been having such a sad feeling lately. That he just doesn't like me. That the one thing he wants from me is for me to be someone else. And not Olive Schreiner.
But that's nonsense. He adores you. He admires you.
You do so many things. And I've not been able to finish a book for years now. If I could just find a quiet spot, a place where I could write.
Eleanor, I was telling William about your pamphlet on a doll's house. It's a sort of satire in which the play ends the other way round, where he leaves her. Very funny.
The title is A Doll's House Repaired.
In the repaired version, the roles are simply inverted and the bourgeois audience is reassured.
Have you read it?
Not yet, no.
Well, you should. It's very good. This is Miss Olive Schreiner, the famous South African writer and activist.
How'd you do?
Delighted.
Oh, Eleanor, I loved your adaptation. It was brilliant. The British audience, of course, is not ready for this. Like, they weren't ready for your translation of Madame Bovary, but then it did have its political effect.
A doll's house repaired could have ended like Madame Bovary with Nora's suicide. You should have thought about that.
What do you mean?
Well, instead of leaving him, Nora could have killed herself. The romantic version that everybody would have preferred.
I don't think that's funny.
To Ibsen.
And to Ibsen.
We have to reduce spending, Edward. You need to learn to save your money. You know, you really shouldn't smoke so much. The doctors... Engels said you'd asked him for a loan. Please don't borrow any more money. Don't ask other people, but most of all, don't ask him. He helped my father his whole life.
I hate doing it, but he's a rich man, after all.
I don't care. I would prefer not to accept any more help from him.
The one Engels should really help is his son. He's never lifted a finger for Freddie. But then he was the maid's child, so nobody cared about him, isn't that right?
But Freddie and Helen would never have accepted his help. They're much too proud. They're much prouder than you. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said that.
Hmm? Of course, my darling, don't worry.
I see you ordered more flowers. I never received them.
I, Friedrich Engels of 122 Regent's Park Road, London, hereby declare that Frederick de Motte, the only son of my deceased friend Helena de Motte, is not my son. Though in the past I have led others to believe this, I am not the above said Frederick's father. Signed and declared in the presence of witnesses on the day and year first above written.
The doctor's visiting him. You'll have to wait.
Why are you doing this?
Only because Helene is dead and isn't here to contradict you. But I will talk to him and he will tell me the truth.
Friedrich can't speak anymore. And in any case, he has made the statement in presence of an attorney.
Why can't he speak?
The tumor has devoured his vocal cords. But he has a little blackboard. He can communicate with that.
You may come in now.
Friedrich? Is what they're saying true? Is it what they're saying about Freddie true? Then who is his father, if it isn't you?
Did she know? Did Mama know?
I have heard a lot about you two. Eleanor, Laura, your dear sister Jenny. There are legends of the 3 Marx daughters resisting to a long police interrogation in the time of the Commune.
Yes, but Eleanor was always the bravest. And she was barely 17. We found a house in the country, finally. We looked for it a lot when we still had Etienne. We wanted him to have a garden to play in, a dog or some other animal. But Etienne died, so we didn't do it. But now we found it. They're selling it in a public auction. With the money Engels left, we should be able to afford it. It's in Trevet, sent to us. It's in ruins, it needs a lot of work, but it has 30 rooms, additional buildings, an orange tree patch, and a garden that goes all the way to the forest in Senart.
We should stop here.
Debout les damnés de la terre, debout les forçats de la faim. La raison trône en son cratère, c'est l'éruption de la femme.
Du passé, faisons table rase, vous l'esclave, debout, debout. Le monde va changer de base, nous ne sommes rien, soyons tout. C'est la lutte finale, groupons-nous et demain, l'international sera le genre humain. C'est la lutte finale, groupons-nous et demain, l'international sera le genre humain. C'est la
You're early. Would you like one?
Go on. Say thank you.
Thanks.
He loves those.
Christmas is important even for us, even for those who aren't religious. It's an excuse to be together.
They're here. Can you help me?
Yeah, of course.
Let's go.
Let's sit down over there.
Many years ago, I had left home. My father didn't approve of a friend I had, a man who was much older than me.
I went to Brighton. I taught English in a boarding school.
Sure.
But I became ill. My parents thought it was physical fatigue. On Christmas Day, my father came to Brighton. He came to bring me home. Christmas has been important to me since then.
Is Edward here tonight?
No, he hates Christmas. He says it's a ridiculous celebration. And he was ill tonight. Oh, we bought a new house. You must come and see it. It has a lovely garden. It's a mess now with the boxes. But when we're settled in, I'd love to invite you to come.
I'd like that very much.
I've always wanted a brother. So lovely to have you here. You're such a good person.
Oh, you're getting happier every year.
Oh, that's the perfect place for it. Done.
All right, go next.
Oh, no, you like it. Quite right, too.
I like it.
Yes, don't want everything too
Right now,
perfect.
put them in trees.
We need to talk, Tussie.
What's happened?
Nothing serious. Just... I'm leaving. I'm going home to Cape Town. Doctors have ordered me home to my own beautiful climate. The London air is killing me. And with Havelock, it's really over. You know that.
Yes, of course, I had expected that.
You should visit me in Africa. I'll spend the first 7 months on a delightful promontory at the very end of South Africa where there are only 3 cottages. And the post only comes once a week, if you send for it. After that, I hope to carry out my life's dream of going on into the interior for a year or 2. Isn't the world beautiful? We never get to the end of it. Oh, Tussie. Tussie.
Nobody calls me Tussie anymore.
There's something else I have to tell you before I leave. It's about Edward.
What about him?
I can't bear leaving you with him. He's so selfish. But it's not only that, it's that he makes you so unhappy. I have to tell you, I have a horror of him. Ever since I first met him. I fought it down for your sake. But now I just want you to know.
I love him very much, Holly. I know you two never got along, but I would ask you to please respect that.
Are you Mrs. Eleanor Marx Aveling? Wife of Dr. Aveling?
I use the double name to sign my articles, but... Technically, no, I'm not his wife. We never got married.
Of course. You can't be. Because I am his wife.
Dr. Aveling's wife died last year, and she was much older than you.
I know. We got married right after his wife's death.
But why aren't you living together? If you're husband and wife, why is he still living with me?
Well, we can't afford it. He has no money, and I have no work.
What do you want from me?
I want you to leave him. So he will live with me and accept his responsibilities.
This certifies that you're married to Alec Nelson. Alec Nelson is Edward's pen name. It's what he uses to sign his plays. But you must know it's not legal. He's played a trick on you. Sorry. Merry Christmas. The truth. Not fully recognized even by those anxious to do good to women, is that she, like the labor classes, is in an oppressed position. And that her condition, like theirs, is one of merciless degradation. Women are the creatures of an organized tyranny of men. Just as the workers are the creatures of an organized tyranny of idlers, women have been expropriated as to their rights as human beings, just as the laborers were expropriated as to their rights as producers. The method in each case is the only one that makes expropriation at any time and under any circumstances possible. The method is force. It is unnecessary to point out how much better within the last few years women's rights have been managed in England, thanks to the actions of women themselves. But it is necessary instead to remind you that with all these added rights, English women, married and unmarried alike, are still morally dependent on man and are still badly treated by him.
What is it that we as socialists desire for women? What is it that we expect? What is that of whose coming we feel as assured as the rising of tomorrow's sun? In the socialistic working society, as was predicted by my father, clearly there will be equality for all without distinction of sex. Thus, women will be independent. Her education and all other opportunities will be equal to that of a man. Like him, she, if in sound mind and body, will have to give her 1, 2, or 3 hours of social labor to supply the wants of the community and therefore herself. Thereafter, she will be free for art, science, writing, teaching, or amusements in any form. Whether monogamy or polygamy will obtain in the socialistic state is a detail on which one can only speak as an individual. Personally, I believe that monogamy will gain the day. There are approximately equal numbers of men and women, and the highest ideal seems to be the complete, lasting blending of two human lives. This ideal, almost never attainable today, requires at least 4 things: love, respect, intellectual likeness, and a command for the necessities of life. In the socialistic working society, prostitution will have vanished, along with the economic conditions that made it and make it, even at this time, an economic necessity. Woman will no longer be man's slave, but his equal. The contract between a man and a woman will be of a purely private nature, with no need for intervention from any public functionary. For divorce, there will be no need, nor will there be this hideous disguise, this constant lying that makes the domestic life of almost all English homes an organized hypocrisy. Man and woman will find in the heart of the other that which is in the eyes, their own image.
was in prison, I made friends with a bird. I named him Carnal. Every morning, he would come flying in between the bars to wake me. They remind me of him. Ariane, Brunhilde, Clotilde. The goose is Carlos. He's a rebel, like you. Yeah. They're my babies. I've been studying a lot of mathematics lately, and I was wondering if you still remember your father studying algebra to build new models for his economic analysis.
Yes, but that was for practical use for the third book of the Capital.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
I don't understand why you've completely abandoned the practical aspects of our study.
Because it's over. Time for political practice, for us, is over.
Oh, what are you talking about? There are still so many battles to be fought.
Laura! Laura! You still have some cake left for us?
Yes!
Let's go eat some cake.
And then he started going on about the goose, and I was lonely and needs a friend.
Well, it may be lonely, don't you think? Oh, Paul. What a boy he was. A hero of the commune. What's become of him? So glad Papa couldn't see this. He's given up on everything.
Laura and her cow.
The doctor told you to stop with the cigars. I seriously doubt he would approve of you smoking opium.
Your sister's lost her mind completely. All of those children, they're the children of people she barely knows. Why does she keep inviting them? Just because you have a garden doesn't mean you need to fill it with other people's children.
My sister lost 3 children. 2 of them were only a few weeks old, but Etienne was 3. I know she thinks about them all the time. I find her obsession with children heartbreaking.
I was joking, I'm sorry. I was.
I saw so little of him this year. He was always away. He spent a long time in Torquay preparing 2 plays that got cancelled in the end. And he sees other women. Of course, as usual. But we get on well together. We have fun, and working together is still very exciting. Laura, did Eddie ask you or Paul to lend him money?
Not directly. But a few creditors have written to Paul. It seems that Edward has put our name forward for a guarantee for a loan. I don't understand. Where are your savings going?
He's hopeless with money. Now we have all these medical expenses because of his lungs and all the other problems, and with the new house and all the rest. We've spent all the money I got from Engels. He doesn't worry. He never worries. He doesn't know feelings like pain or fear. If he does worry, he forgets after an hour and goes around completely unconcerned. He's like a child.
It's likely that because of the drugs he takes for his lungs, the infection will not subside. We cannot give him medicines that could impede the effect of the other ones.
So pretty. Can I have some whiskey?
Do you still love me?
I was born to love you.
Why do you lie to me all the time?
Lies don't matter. You're the light and the blessing of my life. Do you love me?
You have to stop hurting me. You promise?
Yes, I promise.
20 men will be too many in here. That's 250 cubic feet of air per person. For soldiers in barracks, the standard amount is 600.
Yes, soldiers in barracks occupy the site for the entire day and night, whereas here, the air is restored during the night.
Of course, the necessary air is less than 600, probably. But 250 is less than half. The restoration of the air during the night will only help for the first hour or so.
Men will want to keep the window closed when they're working. There's no way they'll leave it open.
My father used to say the English working classes are almost more antagonistic to fresh air than a German in a railway carriage. They don't understand its value. They overemphasize the possibility of harm.
Many men are afraid of the consequences of a cold draft. There's an over-susceptibility to chest infections among them.
1,000 times more injury is likely to come from a closed room than one with a slight draft. It's our job to explain that to them.
And you have to remind them that children are not allowed to work unless they completed Standard 3. It was one of the main battles we fought, and we won.
This means they'll have to be at least 10 years old. It's absurd. The men will never have it. Michael, please.
But why don't you tell her that we need our children's salaries, eh? We're happy when they work.
Michael, this is unacceptable.
Not having it.
Enough. I'm sorry about Michael. He's under a lot of strain.
I'm only trying to help. Has the post come?
No news yet, miss.
Oh, believe me, I'm used to it. Dr. Aveling can disappear, but he always reappears again. If he were ill, I'd know. It'll be good for him to spend some time at the coast. Breathing the London air is definitely not good for his lungs. You can go, Gertie.
You have to leave it on for at least an hour, or else it won't work.
I'll leave it on all evening. I've got work to do. He's got light hair too. I had no idea that happened to dogs.
Yes, that's right. Have a nice evening.
Dezember 1863. Liebe gute Herzens-Jenny, gerade sind es 8 Tage, dass ich hier in Trier angekommen bin. Wenn ich dir jetzt erst schreibe, geschah es nicht aus Vergesslichkeit. Umgekehrt. Ich bin täglich zum alten westfälischen Haus in der Römerstraße gewallfahrtet, das mich mehr interessiert hat als alle römischen Altertümer. Weil es mich an die glücklichste Jugendzeit erinnert und einst meinen besten Schatz barg. Außerdem fragt man mich täglich, von links und rechts, nach dem Quondam schönsten Mädchen von Trier und der Ballkönigin. Es ist verdammt angenehm für einen Mann, wenn seine Frau in der Fantasie einer ganzen Stadt so fortlebt, als verwunschene Prinzessin. Ich liebe dich so sehr. Karl.
What they wanted. Be buried in the same tomb.
They lived their whole lives together.
Was my mother not jealous? How did they carry on after what happened?
They had a great adventure.
I spoke to our solicitor yesterday. We have so many debts. Edward spent so much money lately. He keeps asking people and signing papers. I can't even scold him because he's disappeared again.
What do you mean he's disappeared?
He went to the coast to get some fresh air about 2 months ago. I haven't heard from him since. Of course, I'm used to it, but he's never been gone this long before. He did promise me that... But of course, I knew he would do it again.
You shouldn't let him treat you this way.
I think I know what his problem is. He simply has no moral sense. Just as some are deaf or have bad sight or are unhealthy in other ways. Of course, I know deep down I can't blame him for this. Freddie, I don't think you and I are such wicked people. And yet we seem to have got all the punishment. You lost your wife, and I fell in love with Edward.
Some have been unluckier.
Yes, of course.
Dr. Evelyn is back.
Oh, good.
Good night.
Night.
Hello, my darling. Can I get a kiss? Don't ask me how I feel.
I thought you were dead.
Well, I am pretty ill. That's why I didn't write. I didn't want to worry you.
You should go to bed and rest. How's your wound?
Hurts like hell.
Let me look at it for you. Ready?
I'm hungry.
morning, Gertie. Edward was feeling much better this morning. He went into town. He had an appointment. May I ask you to run an errand for me?
What is this for?
It's for the dog. He's old and very ill.
All right. I'll need a signature of a doctor. Dr. Evelyn will have to sign a book of poisons.
Thanks. She said she'd come by later to pay. Ms. Marx? Ms. Marx? Your favourite virtue? Papa?
My favorite virtue is straightforwardness.
Jollity.
Sincerity. Humanity. Mine is truth. The idea of happiness.
To fight.
Chateau Margaux, 1848.
Knowing that you are loved.
I don't know.
Champagne. Your idea of misery.
To submit.
Going to a dentist.
Self-contempt. Mine is a toothache. Your favorite maxim and motto?
Nothing human is alien to me.
Take it easy.
Know thyself.
All for one and one for all.
Mine is go ahead.
I could use just a little
Debout les damnés de la terre, debout les forçats de la faim.
La raison tombe dans son cratère, c'est l'éruption de la faim. Du passé, faisons table rase, foule esclave, debout, debout. Le monde va changer de base, nous ne sommes rien, soyons tout. C'est la lutte finale, groupons-nous et demain. L'international sera le genre humain, c'est la lutte finale.